welcome back to the On Wrestling and to Backlash 2025 out of 10. We're not only witnessing John Cena's final year with WWE, but we also got to see him face one of his oldest rivals for the world title at this pay-per-view, Randy Orton. And yeah, the only non-title contest on the card featured Pat McAfee stepping into the ring against Gunther, but we started things off with a fatal four-way for the US title. Jacob Fatu, Damien Priest, Drew McIntyre and LA Knight battling out. And after a brief standoff, Knight went after Fatu while McIntyre and Priest paired up and took their fight out of the ring. Knight and Priest temporarily worked together against Fatu, but it lasted all of 30 seconds before McIntyre started taking out everyone. Each competitor had a chance to dominate through the other for the brief period, so it never felt like anyone was a clear favourite. The crowd gave her "This is awesome" chant right before Fatu started taking everyone out with some high-risk offence. He was the star of the match, especially in the fan size. The match had a lot of energy and all four men had a chance to look $1,000,000. The crowd was having a ball and it seemed like everyone working together so much in recent months. It has allowed them to build some great chemistry. Priest and McIntyre fought into the crowd and ended up going for a couple of tables near some production equipment. When it looked like Knight would put Fatu through the announce table, Sikoa showed up and pulled him off the table. Jeff Cobb shocked Knight by attacking him from the crowd. Fatu looked confused when he realised what happened, but he took advantage of the situation and finished off the megastar to get the win. This was a fantastic opening bout. We got tons of action, and judging by Fatu's reaction, this could cause more problems than it solved. The debut of Jeff Cobb, and yeah, I'm a big fan of Jeff Cobb, very excited to see what he can do. 8 out of 10. We then got Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch, and the women's IC title bout was on the line, of course. Becky Lynch was first out to battle her former friend. Both of them were all business as they made their way to the ring. The man scored the first real takedown towards their opponent, but she let Valkyria get up to her feet so they could square up again. The champ took her down into a submission that tied up all four of her limbs. These superstars were not holding back. Lynch ended up with some bloody wounds on her elbows, but never slowed down. They were making sure this bout came completely separate from their previous encounter for the NXT title, especially with Lynch the heel. Big time back spent a lot of time in control before Valkyria made a comeback. The crowd broke into dueling chants, but the people cheering for the champ were just louder. The way the match was structured was pace allowed them to showcase their wrestling ability, will also tell a story in the ring. It was hard to think of anyone they could have done better. Lynch grew frustrated after her finish had failed to win the contest, so she grabbed a chair while the ref got out of it. She then removed the turnbuckle cover. This led to the ref being distracted when Valkyria should have had the match won. Valkyria ended up winning after countering a pin, but Lynch attacked her after the match. The feud clearly isn't over, and the ending may have been a little overbooked, but as a whole it was a tremendous match. And yeah, definitely a fan of them getting to run it back. So on the whole, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. We then made the way from the women's IC title to the men's as Penta made his way to the ring to challenge Dom Mysterio for the bout. The rest of the Judgment Day came out of Dom, but didn't go all the way to the ring with him. Mysterio was able to get the upper hand though for a moment, but Penta's veteran experience allowed him to quickly turn the tables. Unfortunately for him, all the experience in the world wouldn't help when your opponent uses dirty tactics. Dirty Dom looked like a tougher competitor in this bout than he ever has before. Working with Penta forced him to dig deep and bring out his best, and it has led to him doing some of his best in-ring work. These guys have developed a lot of chemistry working together over the past month, and they used to give it the best encounter to Jay. In fact, it might be the best singles match Mysterio's had. He looked more confident in his ability than ever and was able to keep up today. Carlito tried to distract the ref so Balor and JD McDonough can interfere, but officials saw and ejected the ring in from the inside area, and Grande Americana then showed up and hit Penta with a headbutt while the rest was dealing with the Judgment Day. The interference allowed Dom to hit a frog splash for the pin and a win. Yeah, a pretty predictable finish, but I thought it's a really good match. Penta really showing how good he is. I think Dom is getting better and better, so yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. The penultimate match of the night saw Pat McAfee step out from behind the announce desk to defend the honour of himself and Michael Cole against Gunther. The ring general seemed all too happy to toy with McAfee at first. They locked up and he shoved the former NFL punter to the corner. On their next lock-up, he whipped McAfee to the mat in a headlock. Every time the announcer tried to mount the little offence, Gunther would swat him away. When McAfee tried to hit some chops, the ring general left him and hit a few before he levelled him with one big hit. Even a running kick from the former Indianapolis Colts player angered Gunther more than it hurt him. They were never going to be a competitive fight, but they did a good job spacing out their spots, so the match lasted longer than a few minutes. McAfee managed to string a few moves together, but was shocked when Gunther kicked out and won and immediately stood up. Cole pleaded with Gunther to win the match several times as he watched his colleague get decimated. McAfee then refused to tap out, so the ring general pulled Cole into the ring and dared him to take a spot. The match was far more competitive than it needed to be, but they did a good job making it entertaining, even though if it didn't always make sense. They kept trying to make it seem like McAfee had a chance, but we all knew it was fruitless. After milking ending all the way through it, McAfee finally passed out to give Gunther the win. As a wrestling match, it's passable, but as an entertaining story, it's a lot of fun. WWE managed to make Gunther look good, also without making McAfee look like a total chump. Wasn't as good as the other stuff on the card, no, probably not, but it was an entertaining little break, I would say, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10. And in our main event, it was John Cena versus Randy Orton one-on-one, so this felt like a big deal before it even started. They took a beat before locking up for the first time. Neither man gave an inch, so they broke the hold, circled each other and locked up again. Orton poked Cena in the eye and sent him out of the ring, which angered the 17-time champ. After Orton got the better of Cena a few times, the champ tried to leave the match. The Viper chased him down and brought him back. Once they got into the contest a bit more, they turned into the kind of bout these two have always had. They know each other better than anyone else, so everything they did looked good, but nothing they did was surprising. Orton and Cena were very different than they were 10 years ago, so they pleased themselves and built up big moments instead of trying to pack in as much as they could. They had a lot of time to work with, so they could fill it nicely. Well, it was a solid main event. It's hard to say if it's one of their best performances, but it's predictable, slower in its places. But it's their age probably, isn't it? Both men survived finishes from the other a couple of times, and the ref was taken out twice near the end of the match. We even saw the Viper still seeing his finishes, putting through 2 different tables. Cena took out the second official who showed up, preventing anyone from being able to count when Orton hit the RKO. The Viper looked befuddled as producers filled the ring. He RKO'd all of them, and GM all this. R-Truth ended up stopping Orton from hitting a punt, allowing Cena to hit a low blow from the Legend Killer. This was a lot of fun, even if it was very overbooked towards the end. But it was a fun schmoz, I'm not going to lie. The R-Truth bit did make me laugh. It's kind of what we're going to see from heel Cena, I guess. But I thought it worked nicely for this match. We've seen it before from Orton in the past, so it's an entertaining break for him with it seeing Cena. So 7 out of 10 for me. Good stuff. Overall, WWE Backlash gets a 7 out of 10 from me. I thought, it was a really decent show, this one. I loved the first few matches. Probably got progressively weaker as the show went on, but I thought sort of on the whole, for a quick, 2.5 hour pay-per-view, whatever, it was a fun little show. So gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Good stuff. Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.